Okay, so we are reviewing for summative 4, and we're starting by doing 7B, the top one that says exit ticket. We're going to do this one for a warm-up. And I gave everybody 2 minutes, so now we're going to quickly go through the answers. Natalie, can you tell me what you wrote for zeros? Is everybody close? Anybody have y-intercept? Yep, what'd you have? Okay, 11 sounds good to me. Anything close, we're just estimating here, right? Okay. The max ordered pair there. Ben, did you have something down? Ben, did you have something down for, no? Oh, sorry. Raina, do you have something down for the max? Sure. Anything close is fine. The min, Elena, right? 3, -15? Okay. Watch, some reason our brains forget those negatives a lot. Okay, remember it's X intervals where it's increasing. So as we go left to right, and which numbers do we use? We use X's and we use the max and the mins, okay? Not the zeros, we use the max and the mins. So up here, this was an X of -1 and this was an X of 3. Okay, so how do we write it was increasing from the left until -1? Negative infinity until -1. And is it increasing anywhere else? Yep, from down here off to the right, so 3 to infinity. And you would need both of those parentheses. I don't care about the U, okay? If you don't put the U. Decreasing is in between those. It was going down, so we'd have -1 to 3. How you feeling about increasing and decreasing now? Especially if quiz is a cubic like this, not something with 16 pieces, right? All right, inflection point. Did anybody come up with a guess for that? Because I will give it to you on the quiz tomorrow. Yeah, 1-0. Yes, you plow points like I do half the time. Okay, over 1 and up 0. So that intercept right there looks like a pretty good estimation of an inflection point. And again, tomorrow I give you one. But what do you have to use from that to give the concave up and concave down intervals? The X value again, right? The X value again. And so this whole side is what? Down like a frown. So that's from the left until we get to, we decided to use 1, an X value of 1 right there. And then from 1 and to the right, it's up like a cup. So that would be 1 to infinity. And end behaviors. Aiden, is that right? Okay, I have like 2 Aidens and 2 Adrians and I get so confused. Aiden, tell me what you have there. Okay, so you did the positives first. Okay, so whatever order you have it in, guys, but you should have one that says up on the right and one that says down on the left. It doesn't matter which, set of blanks you had. Is everybody good with what I'm saying there? Okay. I have opened the review. What would you like to go over on the review? We'll come back to that exit ticket if we have time at the end to do the other one. Nothing? I don't need to. You got it? You golden? I'm thinking at the minimum we should do, probably do most of it, but let's go to, can we go to this problem with it covers what we just did and type this in our calculator so we actually have to do it accurately? So I think this is on the back, am I correct? Yeah. 1.4a. Go to your calculator and type that in. It's y equals, ooh, do I have it in already? I do, -4, it's a negative x cubed and then a minus 4x squared plus 10x plus 6. Guys, I can't stress enough that some of you are really struggling with this calculator stuff, so I need you to be practicing when we're doing it together and telling me if it's not working, okay? Give me a shout, run it up here, raise your hand and I'll come over, whatever we need to do, but I need you to be telling me if you're not getting these answers to work out. I would do a Zoom standard to start, which I think tomorrow is not going to be adequate. Okay? Left to right are the X values. Are they seem okay? Do we have enough X going left to right? We know it doesn't cross more than 3 times because it's a degree 3. Okay? So I think we're good left to right. What about bottom to top for Y values? It looks like we need quite a bit more negative Y. Does that seem true? And a little more positive Y. So if I go to window, it's Y values, but it looked like I needed to go down pretty far. I don't know what to try. -50. And then it did look like I needed to do up a little bit higher to see the top of that one. I might try, I don't know, 25. How's that sound? Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. Now, the minimum, okay, on the quiz, it's going to ask for the window and you're going to have to tell me what you put in. All I want you to state is what these 2 values were and what these 2 values were, okay? You don't have to give me all this other garbage. But not everybody's going to get the same answer. So what I do is I figure out what is the smallest or the smallest window you could have, okay? So you definitely could have gone smaller on the X's, but I think most of you probably wouldn't have bothered, right? So -10 to 10 is fine. And then on the Y's, you definitely could have gone a little bit smaller. And if you have bigger than mine, you're always okay. You just can't have smaller. Let's try that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so did I do -40 to 20? But if you had -50 to 25, then yours is just a little bigger, right? A little more area in there. As long as you can see the whole thing, you're good. Not going to take off for a bad window unless you're telling me something that's cutting off part of the graph, okay? Though do not use Zoom Fit because it will zoom way too far out and you won't be able to see what's going on. And then you draw a sketch and it gives you a little box to put a sketch in on the quiz. So ours was going like this. And my sketch is horrible as usual. Okay, I have better over here by just pulling it off the calculator, but all right, how do you find the x-intercepts? Guys, make notes if you don't remember this, but how do you find the x-intercepts? What are they called on the calculator? Zeros. So you go second trace and find the zeros. The first one is out here somewhere between like, I don't know, -8 and -3. Okay, you can scroll around, but you need to make sure that it's blinking on that and says 0 when you're done. Now, 9e to the negative 12 is just calculator error. Everybody's good? That's 0. So negative 595 would round to negative 5.60, right? And I don't care if you list these as ordered pairs or if you list them as just a list of zeros. Yes. Yes, I think the quiz says hundreds, okay? It'll say right on the quiz, but I'm pretty sure it's hundreds. And then there's one here between like -1 and 0. So second trace, I'm finding a 0 between like -1 and +1. And it's blinking at the right spot, -0.51. And the last one looks like it's past 2, doesn't it? Between 2 and 3, maybe? Okay, 2.10. Be careful. Remember, when you're looking to the hundredths, you only look one place past, and that's a 4, so we don't round it up. I'm not going to be that picky, but... All right, y-intercept, how do we find that one? This one we use 0. What do we use on this guy? You can use trace or value, and then the 0 button. I just like to go trace the 0 down here and enter. And I got 6. Anybody else get 6? So this one is at 0, 6. Am I going too fast? Okay, the max and the min. Second trace max. If I'm going to find the max, I am to the left of it now. And then I'm to the right of it, and make sure it's blinking. When it says maximum, make sure it's blinking right up at the top here. Now, the maximum value of the function is actually this 11.04, but it asked on the quiz for an ordered pair. Was it 0.9 something, guys? 9.3 or 9.4? 9.3, and then 11.04, okay. And the min is over there somewhere between like -5 and 0. Anybody get a -3.59 and -35.18? Wait, 1.8, is that what I said? All right. Increasing, decreasing, and let me pick an inflection point for you. I'm going to pick something easy here, like -1. -1, -7 is what I'm going to pick for our inflection point. I give it to you on the quiz. Okay, now, I like to, on my graph, actually write the x values only for the max and the min so I don't get confused. This max up here had an x value of 0.93, and this min had an x value of -3.59. So now, when I go to do increasing, where is it? It was from there to there, right, on this one? Increasing as I go left to right was -3.59 to 0.93. And decreasing would be before that, so -infinity to -3.59. And after that, 0.93 to the right. Okay, all of that we just talked about is one standard. There is a separate standard that covers concavity and average rate of change, if I remember right. So there will be a line on your quiz, but you're still using the same graph. But remember, when you're doing concavity, you're actually looking from that inflection point, which was at -1. Anybody tell me concave up? Which side of that is concave up? Guys, you scaring me. Are you just quiet this morning? From the left until -1 would be the concave up like a cup. And then from -1 to the right would be the concave down. Again, these are x intervals or domain intervals. Now, what if the graph on the quiz tomorrow goes this way? Is that going to change a bunch of things? Well, it's going to change, like the concave up will be on the right and the down will be on the left, and increasing and decreasing will be different, right? But as long as it's that shape, it's very similar. It's just got to know what you're talking about. All right. Should we finish this section? Average rate of change. What word needs to go through your head when you see average rate of change? Nope. Slope. Remember, average rate of change is not averaging anything. It says for this function, find the average rate of change from 1 to 5. It means you put in h of 1 and you put in h of 5. If I put a 1 in there, I think I get -5. Is anybody else getting that? If I put a 5 in there, you might need a calculator. I think it's 95, but I'm probably wrong. Okay, does everybody get what I did? Now, how do we find the slope? Ordered pair, we put in a 1 and got out a -5, and we put in a 5 and got out a 95. Now you do the slope. 95 minus -5 over 5 minus 1. I think is 100 over 4, isn't it? So the slope is 25 is the average rate of change for that question. It can be positive, it can be negative, it can be a little fraction, it can be a huge number. Average rate of change. And it really means slope is what that blank was for right there. We need to do one more together or not? Something else you want me to go over? Little audience participation here, guys. We got a whole review sheet. Is there something else you want to talk about? Yes. Hello. Say that again. The what? Okay, yes, that section, end behavior. Does that start here? Well, this is also end behavior. Okay. Oh, okay, when it doesn't give you a picture. You can always graph it on your calculator too, by the way. But what's happening here? What goes in both of these Y's? Yeah, because it's going up. Everybody good? And then one of the X's has to say left and one of the X's has to say right. All right, then the one Ella was asking about is this one. Again, you could graph this on your calculator. I have no problem with that, okay? It is actually the graph of the problem we just did. It's the equation we just did. So it looks like this. The rule, though, is a cubic goes like this, until you put a negative out front, then it flips and goes the other way. Okay? And so the left end is up. So somewhere I need a negative x saying left, and up goes with that. And then x is positive means to the right, and that end is down towards negative infinity. As long as you have a statement with those two going together and another statement with those two going together, it doesn't matter what order. Everybody okay? And whatever it is, you can do it on the calculator to look. What else? Raina, you had a hand up. Yeah, one of them is just like a graph that has a jump or something. What is it asking here, guys? Where is this discontinuous? I don't know. Is it x equals -2 maybe? Okay. And you could just write -2. I don't care. Before this one? Okay. What's the rule about x is in the denominator? This cannot equal 0. Okay. So what do you have to be able to do? 6 and 1 maybe would make 7. Did I factor it correctly? Multiplies to positive, -6, -1. Okay. So if I set this one equal to 0, I get 6. And if I set this one equal to 0, I get 1. So it says, for what values is it discontinuous? You would say when x equals 6 or 1. If you wrote x cannot equal 6 and x cannot equal 1, I would not count that wrong. You found the right values. But since it says discontinuous, it really wants to know which ones are the problems. So whatever. I'm not trying to trick you on that. What else? Feel like we need to talk about domain and range? We'll go back to the beginning. Anybody do domain and range for this first one? Just remember, domain is x's from left to right, and range is y's from bottom to top. Okay, domain, anybody? What's the furthest left this thing goes? -3, and then it goes to the right forever, yes? What is the furthest down this goes? -infinity, and the top? 1, 2, 3, 4 for the y value. Remember, it's the y value we care about. Good job. What makes a function an odd function? Origin symmetry. What makes a function an even function? Y-axis symmetry. What about these two? The first one is, I thought it was even, but is that, look at where these are. Is that exactly down the middle? So it's neither. It's closer to even than anything. If it had been scooted over a little, it would be even, I mean. What about this one? Is this one exactly doing the same thing if we turn it? I think it is. I think that one's odd. By the way, just for practice, the domain for both of these would be all real numbers because they're going left to right. What about the range? What is the range on this parabola? Anybody tell what that is down there? -9. And this one would have a range of all real numbers because it goes up and down. These I would do on your calculator. You just got to be real careful. This one, algebraically, what happens underneath a radical? It has to be greater than or equal to 0. Can anybody solve that? 3x would be greater than or equal to -6. If we divide greater than or equal to -2. How do we write that in interval notation? Okay, and what can come out of a radical? It's okay to graph it. It's going to look like this. So what kind of y values are coming out of that? Yeah, positive, or 0 to infinity. Even, odd, or neither. Okay, 2x squared plus 4, you graph on your calculator, and it will look like this. What is the domain, guys? It's very skinny, but it is quadratic, so you can put in anything. But what about the range? What do you have to find on your calculator, maybe? Okay, if you find that min, it will be at 0, 4. This is a nice one. It might not be a nice one. It could be a decimal on the quiz. But if the min is at 0, 4, how do you write the range? Yes, because it has to be the y value and up. Even, odd, or neither. My picture's awful. It's supposed to be. Does anybody know what it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be even. Hey, what did I skip? Okay, if we start at the top, we did that. That was the top, right? Okay. We did that, we did that, we did that, we did that. Did we do everything but the very last one? What's somebody going to do wrong on this last one? When they put in the -2, they're probably going to forget what? Parentheses. So when I put in a -2, I got out 10. When I put in a 4, I got out 16. Did anybody already do that and see if those are the right points? Oh, yours says what? Instead of 4? I remember why. Because this came out funky. I changed it. No, I think does yours come out 0 when you do the slope? I thought I fixed it to a 4. I don't know which way it's supposed to be. If it's a 3, you get 3 squared minus 3 plus 4 would be 10, yes? So then the slope is 0 because it goes 10 minus 10 over -2 minus 3, you get 0. Which is an okay answer. I just thought it might be a little confusing for you, so I was going to change it to a 4. But bottom line, it's plug in the numbers and you get out and do a slope. Everybody okay? So we can do the exit ticket, or would you rather I made up an equation one that you had to do on your calculator? You just do the exit ticket, or you want an equation? Everybody knows how to do it on their calculator? Okay, can you quickly try this last exit ticket? The bottom of 7, because then you're supposed to turn in this worksheet as part of your homework check, I think. Anybody rattling off zeros for me? -0.4 or something? Any order. Y-intercept, estimating 5, okay. And you don't have to write that one as an ordered pair either. I just always do because it reminds me of how you would get it on the calculator. You would put in the 0. All right, what about the max? $10, $20, $30, almost $40. Did you put 240 or did you put like 1.840 or? We're on the bottom of 7B. Did you figure out where we are? Did I confuse somebody? All right, so we decided to go with 240. And the min over here, -1, -12 or something. Okay, you definitely could have different numbers. But on the quiz, it's going to be an equation, so everybody should get the same answers, right? When they find the maxes and the mins. Okay. Antoine, give me one interval where it's increasing. Okay, increasing uses x values. So it would be from -infinity to -1, and it actually is doing what there? Decreasing, because as we go left to right. So -infinity to -1. Remember, you're using x. I even put it here in the title of the section, x intervals, okay? Then it's increasing from -1 to 2. And then what? 2 to the right, it's going back down. All right, anybody want to pick an inflection point? Somewhere in here. Want me to make one up? 0.520? I don't care. Yeah, you could have used 0.5 even. But I will give you the inflection point that you are to use. And once I give it to you, that's the X you use for concave up and down. So which side is up? The left side is concave up, so that would be -infinity until whatever the inflection point was you used. And then concave down is to the right of that, so 0.5 to infinity. And end behavior? What do you want to do first? Okay, so the words for that are up on the left, and then it would be down as x goes off to the right. How we feeling? Better? Gonna be a good quiz? Okay. Actually, at the moment, I think I'm most worried about domain and range. I don't know why.